Hello, everybody. Today we got a guest who blends business and wellness. He helps over 200 businesses grow in their sales and marketing. He trains like an athlete, but not for sports anymore, but to keep his mindset sharp for business. And he's here to break it all down. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks for the awesome welcome, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Definitely. My name's Ryan Kearney. Um, I run two marketing agencies with my business partner Thomas and my wife Jana. And one of the agencies is a boutique custom agency. We serve people who want to do lead generation and conversion optimization, so generating leads and turning those leads into dollars. We have clients in e-com. We have local businesses, really a custom boutique solution. And then we also have an agency that's focused on serving home service business owners, HVAC, remodelers, custom home builders, remediation companies, pest control, all that good stuff. So the home service business is called Top Seer Marketers. We started off in the HVAC space, and we quickly saw that the strategies we're using there are going to be applicable to other home service businesses. And we grew that, and that's been a lot of fun because I have the most fun working with those clients, I'd say. We seem to have a lot in common. A lot of them are family owned and operated. They like outdoor sports, or camping and hunting and stuff like that, which I'm also into. And they don't really have an interest in being on the computer a lot. So they really like collabing with us to take care of all the marketing, and it keeps them off their computer and in the field with their customers and taking care of their team.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of people need help out there in that. Let's jump right into it. I mean, you helped over 200 businesses. I mean, how did that journey like start in the beginning days of what was your method?
So it started off back in 2016. In 2016, um, I was living in Santa Monica, California. A lot of goals that I had written down were achieved at this point. They were very lifestyle related. I always said I wanted to live in a city near the beach, like an urban beach community, and be able to ride my bike and skateboard to work. I wanted to be able to surf, spend time at the ocean, and I was able to bring it all together back in 2016, but I was still feeling like something was missing. I was working for a startup in Santa Monica, technology education company. My role was in sales. I ended up getting fired because I started to do my own marketing because I'm very competitive and I wanted to have an edge on the other salespeople. We were getting bonused and compensated based on our performance, not just the number of sales we made, but the number one person or number two person was getting a bonus for being at the top of that leaderboard. So I was like, all right, well, I need more leads. I wasn't getting more leads, so I started to do that on my own. It didn't jive well with management. Maybe I was getting off brand in their eyes, but yeah. So that was that was how that played out. But luckily, I had already started to look for other opportunities and noticed that I really liked marketing and I was doing a good job at it because I was generating leads that helped me perform well at my sales job. And then two guys that I went to college with, I met them at Arizona State University. Their names are Spencer and Anthony. We launched a company called Live Bearded together. So they were living in Laguna Beach. I cruised down there from Santa Monica to chat with them about what they're up to. And they said, "Hey, we're going to give this a go if you want to join us." Um, Probably won't be able to make any money for like 3 or 6 months, but we'll see what happens from there. So I was like, I can go 6 months without a paycheck. And we went all in on this e-commerce project. And within like 60 days of us all working together, we decided we were going to move to Hawaii to get away from um, any distraction that really wasn't work. We wanted to live somewhere that was really beautiful, inspiring, and allowed us to have a high quality of life without needing to drive around, waste a lot of time in the car, and be around all of our friends and family, which is important, but we wanted a period of life where we were kind of like in monk mode, um, taking care of business and growing the company. So that's how it got started. Um, as far as the digital marketing goes, I was responsible for all of our Google ads, our Amazon store. I got to learn about email marketing, text message marketing, SEO, all that stuff. And I got to thank Spencer and Anthony for, um, you know, having the idea to come together, go away somewhere else, and create some new habits and learn some new skills. Shortly after getting started with them, I always saw the opportunity for helping smaller businesses, like even local business, generate leads and convert those leads into customers using the same strategy. So my mom had a local family business, and I had some other friends who had a local family business, and I just started sharing strategies with them, not professionally, but just as an ally, as a friend, and they started to find success with it. So then I had a handful of consulting clients, and from there, just identified I really loved working with people. Um, Fast forward, a little bit, I ended up moving to Bali, because I wanted to be somewhere that I could put all of our money back into the business if necessary, but still have a similar quality of life to living in Hawaii. And Bali was perfect. Another place kind of away in monk mode. I was just studying yoga and focused on growing my skill set as a marketer. And my wife and I were based out of there for the better part of 3 years. We still would come back to the States like once or twice a year to see family and stuff, but most of the year was spent in Bali. And that's when I really started to get more clients, work with other business owners, and I was selling some products on Amazon as well. Um,
That's powerful. I mean,
yeah,
you really turned your experiences into like an impact.
thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, what made you want to help others win?
Eh, I'd say my if I really drill down on that question, like go deep and deep on it, because I've asked myself before. I think it has a lot to do with my family. Uh, my grandpa, my mom's dad, he always wants to help people. He does everything he can to help others. Same with my grandma, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my stepmom's a nurse. So they're all very service oriented. Out of all those people I mentioned, my mom is the entrepreneurial one of them all. She started some some businesses in the food industry, and yeah, so I'd say service has always been something that's close to my family's heart, and then coupling that with business is something that I learned from my mom.
That's very powerful indeed. And how did moving away help your businesses grow?
Um, Being very service oriented, being very close with a lot of my family, um, was always something that helped me in my life, but I felt like there were periods of time where if I really wanted to take my skills professionally to the next level, I wasn't capable of being around all of my family and, you know, going to sports events and all the dinners and kind of the busy schedule that comes along with, having a big family and wanting to be very involved. I didn't know how to manage all of that and create the life that I wanted. I love the way I grew up. I love all my family members, but ultimately I knew I wanted to experience more of the world. I wanted to provide value to other people I meet. And yeah, just getting away from home was important for me to broaden my horizons. I didn't see myself only doing business with people in Pittsburgh. I saw myself doing business globally, and another business that I didn't even mention prior to getting started in the sales job with the technology education company, and then starting my marketing consulting business. My first business was a basketball skills training company. Founded that in Dallas, Texas, with my friend Cody Toppert. He's now a head coach in I think it's called the G League. But we then took that business model and launched it in Shenzhen, China, using basketball to teach the English language to people in China, which was an amazing experience. Learning about international business, doing business with another culture, and getting to see the world. So I, yeah, I think maybe my North Star is somewhat tied to not just staying small, not just getting stuck in whatever bubble I'm in at the moment, but being curious about the world in general. And um, my background's in accounting, so even though I'm in marketing, I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and that serves me very well because a lot of the marketing that I like to do is focused on return on investment, calculating numbers, creating marketing budgets, things like that. So it's a little bit of pointing back at, you know, even whenever I learned accounting, I kind of went away to college to learn that skill, and then I came back into the world. So I see my learning style is in a way for me to adapt new traits and skills. I do it a lot more efficiently whenever I take time away from my home environment and go somewhere that I don't have all the distractions of, like, maybe chores at home and birthday parties to go to and all this stuff. And I could kind of put blinders on and just focus on the goals I want to achieve.
Yeah, can you tell me how many businesses you've had to go through to feel successful?
Um, I can tell you how many businesses I've been involved with, but the phrase "to feel successful," um, I would say I experience success regularly, and I can zoom into aspects of my life and point at areas where the outcome that I wanted isn't one that I achieved. And whenever I see that, I can choose to say that I learned, or I succeeded, or I learned and I succeeded, or I just learned. Because if I didn't get the outcome I was looking for, I wouldn't say I succeeded, but I'm not going to say I failed either, because I'm I I'm going to learn something. If I'm not able to pull a lesson from that lack of success, I would identify it as a failure. But I feel it's very easy for me to look at a circumstance that I didn't get the outcome I wanted in, and find a lesson in there to help me continue to move on. Um, I believe the only way to truly fail is to quit. Um, and then, yeah, I know that's my path to success. My path to success is going to be decorated by success and lessons, not success and failure.
I love that, Ryan. And you say you're a sales and marketing athlete. What does that mean, and how do you train for it?
Great question. So I I played basketball in college. I played basketball all my life, and the the lifestyle of an athlete always served me to stay out of trouble, I'd say. Um, I definitely did some drinking alcohol and stuff in my early 20s, and you know, from my perspective, stayed out of trouble, but definitely, you know, was very social, was a partier. But playing basketball through my late teens and early 20s, I think just kept me in check. I still wanted to wake up every morning and get my workout in. I probably needed a nap because of my activities from the night before, but it kept me away from any drugs, away from any risk of committing crime and needing to go to jail or anything like that, and being away from my family and away from my sport. So that time as an athlete kind of created my foundation for what's going to keep me productive. And whenever I moved into business being my new sport, you know, before I kept score, the scoreboard was the basketball going into the hoop, and our score being higher than our opponent's score. Now in business, I'm keeping score with dollars, with leads, with conversion rates. There's all these other metrics to keep score with. So I quickly identified, okay, I have a new sport, and this sport is basketball. I mean, this sport is business, not basketball anymore. And for me to show up every day the way I want, I need to get good sleep. I need to eat a clean diet so that I can think clearly. And I need to move my body and meditate so that I feel present. I feel very capable to read and comprehend. I feel very capable to listen. I feel very capable to focus.
I
Um,
like that. I mean, most people
Thanks.
don't even think about like business and health being connected like that.
Mm. Yeah, for me, there's a quote. I should have it memorized by now, but mm, it goes something like this. It says, uh, a, ma- a, it's something about a master in his line of work draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play. Um, you know, he simply sees himself living in pursuit of getting better in a sense.
No, that makes sense. And let's get real. I mean, why do you think so many local businesses struggle on social media right now?
So right now, I'd say most social media businesses struggle because most local businesses are struggling on social media because they're not speaking to the person holding the phone. Like, yes, many people are going to receive that message that they're putting on the phone, but very rarely is it five people huddled around the phone where the content being put out is being consumed by five people at the same time. It's usually one to one. Like, I'm usually looking at my phone consuming some piece of content. If someone else sees my content, 99% of the time, they're just watching it by themselves on their phone. So I think speaking to their audience in the context that the audience is hearing them is one huge aspect of it. And then another portion of it is not having clear call to actions and clear path forward for how someone can do business with you. With that said, social media has only been a focus for me personally, to grow my business for about 9 months. But for the last 9 years, I've been helping other businesses use social media to get more leads and convert those leads into customers. In the last year, I've seen a big shift where brands that have relied on, being a faceless brand, very stock image, pictures of their product, pictures of reviews, different things like that. That's not performing the best anymore. Nowadays, it takes allowing the consumer, allowing the person who you want to follow you or you want to do business with you to see a person behind the business, to connect, to relate. So they have someone they can decide they like or they don't like. At the end of the day, I think people are most likely to do business with someone they know, like, and trust. So if I can give someone a chance to get to know a business owner before they actually have them at their home to sell them something or to serve them in some way, they can feel a little bit more familiar with the person arriving. I feel like they're more likely to want to welcome that person to come take a look at their bathroom, to give them an estimate to remodel it, or come fix their plumbing issue or their HVAC issue. So
That's great
step,
insight.
yeah, step one is that familiarity. And then, not everyone is going to like everyone. There's going to be people that vibe with what someone decides to point out, people that don't. And I think it's better to put yourself out there to allow people to decide if they want to vibe with you or not, rather than to hide and then they don't get to find out if they vibe with you or not until you show up at their house or until you're on a sales call with them. Um, and it allows people to be more efficient with their time, both on the consumer's end and on the business owner's end. The business owner isn't going to get someone who already could have figured out that they don't like them through the content, and also the prospect is also going to be able to quickly navigate to someone they resonate with.
Yeah, I mean, most people just post and they pray, but you actually have a system.
Correct. Yeah, and in our business, we provide SEO services, web design, Google Business Profile Management, email, text message marketing, and we provide social media direction. We're not a done for you social media service. All those other services I mentioned are done for you, but the social media aspect of things is we give strategy. It's more of a done with you service. I feel like um, a lot of these other assets like the Google Business Profile, the website, the email, text message marketing, it's something that requires an ecosystem to be built, and we're more in control of those assets. We're going to own our website. We're going to own our email addresses for our email marketing. We're going to own the platform that send those emails. When we talk about social media, it is something that at the end of the day can be taken away from us in a moment's notice. I mean, there's all this talk about what's going to happen with TikTok. I mean, I talk to some of my clients, they'll get locked out of their Instagram for sending too many DMs, or they said something that the social media overlords don't approve of, so maybe they're banned, they're suspended for 14 days or a month. All these things. They don't, in a sense, own that audience. It can be taken away at any moment. So while I love social media as a tool to do business, um, it is probably the most vulnerable tool to build out and rely on.
Yeah, I Ryan, I really appreciate what you do. And if someone was if someone hires you to help with their social media page, I mean, what does that look like? Are you helping them create their Instagram bio?
So if someone comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to hire you to help me with my social media," the first question I'm going to ask is the first questions I'm going to ask are going to be centered around what outcome are we looking to arrive at by improving your social media. Let's define improving. Let's define what success looks like for us to work together. Because going back to being a sales and marketing athlete, it's extremely important for us to have a scoreboard to look at to know how to play the game. Let's refer to basketball. We both love basketball. If it's the fourth quarter and we're up 10 points and there's 1 minute left or 3 minutes left, we're going to play a completely different game than if it's the fourth quarter and, we're losing. We're down 2 points. We're down 5 points. Similarly, if it's the first quarter, of the game and we're up 10 points, we're going to have different maybe team members in. We're going to maybe be running some different plays. Maybe we're more open to testing some things and finding some new ads that work because we're winning. Maybe that means we have a little bit more profits. Maybe that means cash flow is a little better right now. So just putting a scoreboard in place is going to be step one. And then once we have that scoreboard agreed to between the person who's saying they want help with social media and I'm going to probably ask more questions about their business to make sure social media is the best resource or the best vertical for us to achieve our outcome. You know, in doing that, I'm going to be talking to them about the team they have in place, their bandwidth, what their skills are, what they're good at, what they're not. So it's not always going to end up being that if someone comes to me saying they want help with their social media, that I just say, okay, and I become like an order taker at a restaurant where I just write down what they wanted off the menu and go give it to the chef and bring them what they wanted and give it to them. And then if they don't arrive at the outcome they want, it's on them. I want to be accountable to achieving results and keeping score together and choosing the most efficient way to arrive at the outcome we want. I'm not a big fan of a predetermined approach to achieve the outcome.
That's clean. You take the guesswork and give them the real game plan.
Exactly.
Uh, what do you see most business owners doing wrong with their content nowadays?
Not showing their face, not being personable, not being authentic. Most business owners are reusing photos, infographics, and things that were Instagram back when it was photo first. I'd say still 80 to 90% of business owners are using social media tactics that worked back in 2010.
Well, a lot of them are just overthinking as well. You know what I mean? And just copying someone else's, of being real. They don't even want to post. Some of them.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true. Um, I mean, I can even extend that into, how we ran our business prior to last year. So prior to last year, we achieved our success and we grew our business through email, text message, and marketing. So one-to-one communication with people via text and email and phone call. Also going to local networking events, things like that. Um, that was a way for me to get to know people and allow them to get to know me. People used to ask me, what's my niche? Who do I like to work with? And I used to say, I like to work with business owners who I have fun working with and who are reasonable and are punctual. And the reason why I chose those qualities is I looked at it like choosing teammates, going back to the idea of being a sales and marketing athlete. Those are the qualities I wanted in my teammates. So I didn't love the idea of choosing a niche like home services or lawyers or doctors and saying, oh, I want to work with these people, because it was taking my intentionality away from the type of person. And it was really probably just an excuse to not put myself out there at the time. I had this story that I wanted to be able to get to know people before I was deciding if I was willing or not willing to do business with them. And for me to say, I'm going to work with a specific type of company, I felt like that would be too selective. I'm going to say, okay, I'm only going to work with doctors, and I also want them to meet this other criteria that I have fun with them while I'm working. That seemed like a lot of filters to put things through. And that's why I kept things very broad for a while as a generalist agency, to focus on attracting the right type of people that I like to work with. And
Yeah.
I'm very social. I spend part of the year in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Usually I spend the summer there, and then spend some of the winter here in Maui, Hawaii, and then also in Phoenix, Arizona, where my wife grew up and where her family's at. We spend a lot of time as well. So we say we're like birds. We have a migration pattern. So it's kind of worked to not use social media as much, because I like to say IRL. I'm in real life in Pittsburgh, in Phoenix, and in Hawaii, which puts me in to many different communities, and I'm very social, and we get a lot of referrals from our customers, and we get a lot of referrals from our community. And now that we're growing our business, I'm now all in on allowing people to get to know me through my social media profile, to get to know our business and our business team members through our business social media profiles. So I've identified that I'm ready to take on that level of scale and start to work with more people that just get to know me off the internet. In the past, I wasn't sure that I was okay with welcoming strangers uh, into my funnel, because I had the luxury of getting to work with so many awesome people that I knew in my community and were referred to me from people in my community.
Now, Ryan, you've opened so many different businesses. Can you give me an example? Let's just say someone has $0 and wants to grow their business.
Definitely. Someone who has $0 and wants to grow their business. I recommend they design an offer, and an offer that allows them to deliver the service in a way that is very turnkey, meaning when someone purchases it, they get to experience the benefit of that purchase in a short period of time afterwards. Um,
Can you
because
unpack
that's,
that a little bit?
yeah, totally. So let's just say is, let's say someone wants to do food delivery, or someone wants to do um, handyman work or pest control. I want them to design an offer that chooses a very specific problem that they can solve for someone, and find out a way that they can make a profit by solving that problem. So there's going to be a little work needs to be done. They need to identify the problem, figure out how much money it costs them to solve that problem, and then they need to figure out the price they need to charge to allow their business to function, on that offer. And I'm going to recommend that they do that for, um, I'd say 2 offers at most, but ideally just one. And then I'm going to recommend that they do it for free for some people to get reviews and to get feedback.
So the reviews and feedback are huge. Would you recommend not like making a brand logo just yet? And what would be the first thing you would tell them? Would you tell them to start a social media page as well, or is that am I mistaken on that?
Um, Depends on their skill set. Depends on what resources they have at their disposal. Um, if they're looking to do pest control, and I happen to have a conversation with them, and I find out that their dad or their uncle or their cousin owns a property management company, I might say, hey, um, is there an ability for us to talk to the people in your network to give you a chance? So I wouldn't say it's the first thing I would tell people to do, because maybe there's a more cost-effective way and more energy-efficient way to get those first customers and those first reviews.
First reviews are huge.
I would say the first thing I'd tell someone to do is set up a Google business profile even before the social media. Um, just because there's a lot of people who aren't ready to be on camera. They don't want to do it yet. They're unsure. But if they do have people in their network who will try out their offer, then they can get the reviews on that Google business profile. And the reviews are going to be really important.
That's great insight.
And they're
What's
not,
one of the mistakes you see local businesses make over and over with all your experience with local businesses?
I'd say one of the main mistakes I see over and over is not looking at the data that we have, and also not putting systems in place that are going to allow us to track the data, and collect data to make data informed decisions.
Ryan, with all your years of experience, what's something about marketing that most people misunderstand?
Most people misunderstand the balance between creativity and analytics that need to come together for a scalable, sustainable approach to marketing. Um, just being analytical isn't going to help us, and just being creative isn't going to help us long term. Both of those things won't help us long term. But if we find a good balance, a good recipe of those two things for someone, that's what's going to allow us to be both creative and make decisions that are going to drive the outcomes that we specifically want.
Yeah, how do you manage success in your own businesses and businesses that you help out?
We make sure we have proper data tracking in place, and we have a scoreboard that we can point to know if we're on track or off track to reach our desired goal.
That's smart. If you're not tracking it, you're just guessing.
Yeah. A lot of businesses that I start working with, the only reliable metric that we have when we come together is sales, because they can look at their bank account and they can see all the transactions of money deposited. Um, Even people who are collecting cash, they seem to have good records for the amount of money they're bringing in. But I oftentimes, unfortunately, come into a situation with someone wanting to market their services better or grow their business, and we don't have any information around the amount of profit in each service, or offering. They don't have data around the conversion rate. They don't have data around how much it costs them to get a lead. And we end up starting there. We put systems in place to allow us to collect that data. And then once we have that data, we can make better decisions. Because if we don't know the profitability of each of their offerings, but they want to make a certain amount of money, you know, we're just guessing at what services we want to sell more of. I mean, one of those services could be losing money for all we know, and another one could be wildly profitable. And we could have the wrong offer live. They could have an offer live for the product that is break even, or negative, and that's fine if that's the best way to get new customers, and then we can measure the lifetime value and they're going to spend more later. But not all businesses are willing to take a loss on that first sale to make it up later, and it's not always sustainable or even practical for people to do so. So that's why it's so important.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, let's zoom out a bit. I mean, what's your definition of success right now?
My definition of success is um, an agreed upon outcome that we would like to arrive at.
I
So
love
that's
it.
that's define success together. I like to say we define success together.
Yeah, I mean, success isn't just about the numbers, you know what I mean?
Yes, I completely get it that it's not, and there's in marketing, that seems to be the best way to keep score, for us achieving our primary goal. Now, there can be other goals along the way. We need to keep team morale up. We want to keep brand image in line. All these other things that we want as goals. But for my clients, most of what we come together to create is a measurable outcome. All these other things are going to be a part of success, but if we have a great relationship, we like each other, we have fun, we're able to laugh, we're able to have challenging conversations together and, still come together afterwards. If all that happens, great, and we can't achieve the outcome we want together, that's not going to be sustainable or tolerable long term. But if we are able to arrive at the outcomes we want to arrive together, and everything else is a little bit like, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not, it's still sustainable, and it's going to allow us to keep working. It's going to allow us to time and experience to iron out all those other aspects of what could be important for our success. But if the business ultimately isn't profitable and goes out of business, then we don't get to keep playing the game to become better teammates, to understand each other better, to be able to support each other better. And there's more, those less tangible, less measurable aspect of things. There's qualitative measures, and then there's quantitative measures. The qualitative measures are a little bit more opinionated and a little more nuanced to come to agreement on, but the quantitative measures are a lot easier to definitively say yes or no, we're on track.
Okay, that's really cool. You can look at the stats and really grow from what you can look at on stats on all the social medias out there have stats on them, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So you're just seeing the analytics and what works and what doesn't works. And I really want to. I appreciate you being on the show. The show is called Every Day is Friday, and Friday is a
Hmm.
special energy, whether it's freedom, excitement, or just feeling of accomplishment after a long week. I want to hear from you, Ryan. What does Friday mean to you?
Friday. What does Friday mean to me? It's a great question. Um, right now, uh, Friday's been really special, specifically because on the island here, they call it Aloha Friday. My friend Paul, he owns a CrossFit gym here on the island, McKenna Performance, also known as the Gym Maui. I've been working out there for a long time, and it puts a big smile on my face whenever I'm there on Friday. And he said, "It's Aloha Friday, everyone." I'll even forget it's Friday sometimes, but I'm in there usually 5 or 6 a.m. whenever he starts class. And when I hear Aloha Friday, it just brightens me up. So it is an energy. So I can't knock that at all. Um, Now, every day is Friday is an interesting one for me because every day isn't Friday for me. I'm sorry to say that on the Every Day is Friday podcast, but I will say this. Every morning is Valentine's Day and every night is Christmas Eve. That's my little mantra, my little quirky funny saying. I feel like Christmas Eve is an energy where people are excited for Christmas. The next day they're, you know, really excited for the future. And then Valentine's Day, it's definitely a commercial holiday. It started off that way, but it's about love. I feel like people have a greater appreciation for the loved ones in their lives on Valentine's Day. So I like to start off every day like it's Valentine's Day and go to bed every night like it's Christmas Eve, excited to wake up the next day.
Now, Ryan, how did Hawaii inspire your inner creativity?
Hawaii completely changed my life in a lot of ways. When I came here to work on the e-commerce startup Live Bearded, I was gifted a environment to observe nature's beauty in so many different ways. There's mountains here, there's the ocean, there's streams, and then there's a lot of aloha. There's a lot of love that people are just living and taking care of their community and taking care of the land. And I just feel like it's way different than how a lot of society conducts life on the mainland. Um, so it harmonized the big city living that I had experienced growing up with the island life and allowed me to find the the beauty in both and take that into my work. And I feel like the island has also given me access to connect with a lot of people who are very accomplished and successful. I mean, the real estate here is some of the most expensive in the world. A lot of people save up for a long time to come on vacation here, and the high net worth people who come to the island here that I get to conversate with and learn from have taught me a lot of lessons along the way too. So I'd say the island itself, the nature, the the people have all provided me gifts in their own way.
Yeah, how did the local community in Hawaii shape your experiences while working in your business?
Everyone here in the local community is trying to support one another, and it felt a lot like home where I grew up, because that's how everyone in my family was. My mom is the person who, if she finds out someone at your house isn't feeling well, she's dropping off soup. If someone in your family's passing away, she's dropping off dinner for the whole family so everyone can come together and have a meal. My grandfather, he's always scheduling time for us all to come together. Here on the island was the first place where I started to experience that as very common. People wanting to come together and support each other, wanting to take an interest in each other's work and support each other with that. And that was the main gift from the local community. And then it's not just commercial. People want to support each other with having a healthy family life. People want to support each other with being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, getting into nature, getting into the gym, getting into the ocean, taking time for a picnic. But then also, it's a it's one of the higher cost of living places to be, so everyone understands that people can have a lot on their plate and a lot of work to get accomplished, and there's a lot of people who are working long hours to provide a life for their family here. So it taught me that it is all possible to, you know, to have a busy life and also have a life that has a lot of enjoyment in it and time with family, time with nature.
No, yeah, the Aloha spirit they call it. It's a
Hmm.
really laid back lifestyle it seems, and it leaves like a lasting impact on people.
Yeah, I'd say so. The relaxed aspect of it, I'd say, is the part that a lot of people get to see and experience because they come here for vacation. But as far as you know how things are on in general, I see a lot of people who are very hardworking. A lot of local service business owners, um, you know, putting in the work, and they have relaxation in their life, but they also have some hustle in their life too.
Do you help out the local community in Hawaii with your business?
I have a few clients here in Hawaii over the years, and right now I'm working with two businesses here, and it's a lot of fun. Tomorrow I have a social media shoot with a business here on the island, and actually about to start running some ads to make sure I get to connect with more people in that capacity. Um, yeah.
Ryan, right now I want to shift it to the Friday mindset part of the show. I want to dig into your journey, your mindset, and the moments that shaped you. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received. Wow, that's a the best piece of advice I ever received. I think it was probably to evolve what a lot of people call is the golden rule. I feel like there's this idea of treat people the way you would like to be treated. That really helped me take good care of my loved ones, my family, my community growing up. And then there was a time where I felt like I was treating someone the way I would want to be treated, but it wasn't working out the way I thought it should. And when I spoke with someone about it, they let me know that it's not always sustainable or practical to do so, but if treating people the way you want to be treated isn't working, it's better to try to find out how they would like to be treated. And now there's people who could want to be treated in a way that isn't appropriate. So that's not always the way to go, but at least asking the question and figuring out if there's a way to show up in that capacity that can be authentic. That's probably been the best advice I ever got. Shortly after I got that advice, I read the book called the Five Love Languages, and in a sense, I want to do everything from a place of love, and being able to love our neighbor is something I wanted to perfect as a skill, and it will be a lifelong journey. I'm not saying I perfected it yet, but they've in this book they talk about five love languages, and that people, one person might feel very loved by receiving a gift, where another person doesn't really feel that love by receiving a gift. They feel loved by someone doing an act of service for them, maybe cooking them breakfast or cleaning their room, or so there's some people that feel loved by receiving words of affirmation, and then there's people who words of affirmation they don't do much for. So dialing into loving people in a way that makes them feel loved, not in a way that makes me just check the box saying I gave them love, is the actionable aspect of how I brought that advice into practice.
Yeah, Ryan, that is great insight. And can you unpack the five love languages for us?
I think so. Physical touch, gifts, acts of service, words of affirmation, and quality time.
It's very powerful if you can understand those all of those connected into one. I mean, what have you learned most about that? Do people have a tendency to have more than one of those?
In my experience, I'd say everyone has a primary and a secondary. Um, you know, it can be nuanced, for sure. The book, I believe, was originally intended for people in an intimate relationship, but the book became very popular, and the concept is applicable across all relationships. So, what is what's like if someone were to, in a professional sense, you know, apply these concepts, maybe physical touch isn't going to be appropriate. Maybe we only work together like this. But if something you share with me led me to believe that one of your love languages was physical touch, and I felt like I was having trouble connecting with you or having you feel acknowledged or respected in this virtual environment, I might say, oh, let me send him a gift. At least that's something else tangible, something he could touch. Let me see how that's received. Um, Also, how you receive words of affirmation. Um, there's all these different ways. I mean, personally, to bring it into this virtual professional environment, I wouldn't be surprised if one of your primary love languages is quality time, because with you doing long form podcasts and connecting with people, it leads me to suspect that you probably value having quality time with people.
It's a great takeaway. It really is. I appreciate you saying that. And what's one truth about life you wish more people understood?
We're we're all we're all in it together. We're all here to help each other. There's definitely competition at play in some realms of life, but fortunately, with the way that the world is currently set up, there's less of a necessity for us to look at each other as enemies for scarce resources. Um, there's enough abundance for all of us to support each other in business and in life, and to all be allies.
Now, Ryan, when your time comes, it could be next year, it could be 30 years from now. What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
I'd say I'd like to leave behind a legacy of love, and I'd like to leave behind resources to support people to experience a well-balanced life of work and play, and um, support people in their pursuit of education and pursuit to create a life with their family that they enjoy.
I love that definition, Ryan. And this is your chance to leave the listeners with something powerful. Is there anything else you want to share? Still there?
I'm still here. Sorry, I'm reaching deep inside for this one.
Okay.
Um, Give me one moment. Um, I'd like to share that one of the most helpful, actionable pieces of advice someone gave me was to not always do things in the format of ready, aim, fire, ready, aim, fire. Sometimes when we're getting started, especially, or when we're trying something new, it's best to say ready, fire, aim, fire, aim, fire. So all this time that it can take to aim in the beginning. So if we do ready, aim, if we were to just say ready and shoot, we could see where the bullet landed on the target, and then we can adjust and shoot again. So we're going to have multiple shots. There's not just one shot. So I think it's best to come out shooting, come out swinging, see where things lie, and then take those observations and apply them to move things in the direction that we want them to be.
It's kind of like that basketball quote: you miss every shot you don't take."
There you go.
And Ryan, all your information will be in the description down below, but I want to make sure that people know where to find you. Where can the people follow and support your work?
You can follow and support my work by sending me a message on Instagram, Ryan Kearney Official. There's thousands of Ryan Kearneys out there, so Ryan Kearney Official on Instagram, and topseermarketers.com. If you're a home service business or you know someone who has a home service business, that's where you can learn more about our offering there. And if you'd like to connect about anything else, my Instagram's still the best place.
And that's a wrap for this episode. I know the listeners got a lot of value out of this. It's been an awesome conversation, Ryan. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you, Matthew. I really appreciate being on the show, and I'm excited to check out this episode, and I'm excited to see the episode you get to record with my friend Adam.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one indeed. That will probably be next week. And thank you for sharing your stories and experiences, Ryan. It was my pleasure.
Aloha.
Aloha. And to the listeners, stay tuned for more amazing stories on Everyday's Friday Podcast 365. If you enjoyed this, make sure you follow, share, and keep that Everyday's Friday mindset going. Till next time, stay inspired and make every day feel like Friday. Till next time.